and find themselves feeling desperate. Listen to me carefully when I tell you we do not tolerate desperate behavior. No matter who you are or where you came from, I promise you, you do not want to test us. This isn't a white-collar resort with a chain-link fence. We have the power to make your life absolute hell. Do you understand me? The heater hummed in the corner, providing the only variance to the silence. Those wide, bloodshot eyes didn't blink, and neither did Reed's. Seconds dripped by as though they were falling from a slow-leaking faucet. So, you're one of those. The sergeant nodded and tapped his pen against the table. We'll see how long that lasts. Officer Yates, show the convict to his cell. An iron grip latched around Reed's arm, and he was propelled out of the room through a back door and into a long hallway. The CO's boots clicked amid the shuffle of the ankle chains, and with each step, Reed's chest constricted a little tighter. Dim lights shone down over him, barely illuminating the black dirt packed into the floor's cracks, or the scratches in the paint along the walls. Dingy yellow ceiling panels hung overhead, completing the mood of the most utilitarian, unwelcoming place Reed could imagine. Move it, Con. The correctional officer snapped and pushed harder. The chains caught on his ankles, and Reed stumbled around the corner. 2 more halls, 1 flight of steps, and then a tall metal door with no windows. Voices and footsteps rang out on the other side, pounding through a cavernous room beyond. Reed tripped over the threshold and fell to his knees, crashing against the concrete. White pants flashing back and forth across the floor filled his vision. 100 yards ahead of him, standing in neat 2-story rows, were dozens of small cells. Steel bars with open sliding doors guarded them, and 100 white-clothed convicts wandered around the floor. Fluorescent light glowed from someplace far above, joined by a single bar-covered window at the top of the wall. The floor was as hard as the block hallways behind him, and there was no other way out. No doors, no color, no warmth. Only cold, brutal containment. The CO grabbed him by the arm and hauled him to his feet. His fingers dug into Reed's arm, sending waves of pain shooting up to his shoulder. He fought to find his footing as he was shoved forward. Welcome to Rock Hollow Penitentiary, number 4371. What's your name? Reed sat on the edge of the bed, his feet resting on the cell's chilled floor. He rubbed his bare wrists, massaging the bruises left by the cuffs. The thin white coverall suit he wore was incapable of blocking the bite of impending winter. Nothing could stop that scourge. Hey, you deaf? Reed looked up. A tall, skinny man with a shiny bald head and no hair on his pale face stood in the doorway to the cell, one hand resting on the wall, the other jammed in his pocket. His eyes were gray and hollow, like twin black holes frozen over. I'm Reed. The words left his lips as a dry monotone. He swallowed and tried to clear his throat. The tall man nodded, still expressionless. Is that right? Well, what the hell are you doing on my bed, Reed? Reed placed his hands on the thin blanket stretched over the cheap mattress. The stiff plastic sheathing crackled under his touch. He stood up and stepped away, offering a small shrug. I'll take the top. Reed placed his palms on the top bunk, preparing to lift himself onto the mattress, when cold fingers wrapped around his wrist, tightening into his skin. The tall man leaned in close, his breath reeking of garlic and cheap food, misting just inches from Reed's face. That's my bed, too. The comment felt distantly preposterous to Reed, as though he should laugh. But through the fog of disorientation, he couldn't make sense of it. He tilted his head and stepped back, gesturing toward the small cell. Where the hell do I sleep? The man laughed, then jerked a thumb toward the stainless steel toilet mounted against the wall. Sitting up, like the bitch you are. Reed stared at the toilet. The comments didn't register. Was this a joke? Was this man insane? Hey, what'd I tell you about coming in here? Get your skinny ass back into the hall. A snapping, high-pitched voice filled the cell, coming from behind the tall man. Reed started and stepped back as a short guy with dark hair barreled through the door. He wore the same white coveralls.